Alright, we've switched over. All my cum champions up in here. You are all unmuted. Welcome everyone to the grand finale of Eberron, Ashes of the Last War, where we're going to go over the epilogues of all of the characters of this campaign, as well as many of the major NPCs. After 64 sessions and a year and a half of gameplay, we're finally here at the very end. So Yulia will be hopping in later, but we're gonna start off with doing the final round the table introductions before I do a brief session recap and we hop right into the action. So first up, we have your girl, Ilya. Oh, sorry,
Lily.
I didn't have you unmuted.
I was not unmuted. Hello, everyone.
Joke's on you.
We are not unmuted.
Now you are.
Let's take a step back. But no, hello, everyone. My name is Lily, and I am so bittersweetly happy to be here to do this final Ashes session. I know we're all ready to. I know I'm at least ready to cry. Super, super excited to kind of truly send off these characters in a nice and really, I mean, it's wholesome, you know. It's gonna be a happy ending after all the trauma. So excited to kind of go through all that with you guys. So yeah.
Thank you, Lily. It'll be a true test to see if you guys cry more in this than the previous session. But next up we have, I gotta say this for the final time, the horniest tiefling MILF that this party could ever hope for. Euphoria, emphasis on the cocks.
Oh, I can't believe it's the last time I'm ever gonna hear that intro. But hello, everyone. I am Meris. I play Lady Euphoria Cox. Everyone, hot pink tiefling MILF. And I just, if you'll permit me to just be sappy for a hot second, I just want to thank you, Obs, for letting me be a part of this incredible campaign. I have had so much fun. It's been such a delight playing with y'all. And thank you to, everybody who watches, Twitch chat, all of our crazy, sad, queer shenanigans. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for being a part of this journey with us.
Thank you so much, Meris. It means a lot to me to hear you say that. And for everyone who does watch this, you have a special place in my heart. Anytime somebody on YouTube makes a comment on one of the videos about what happened, I become for a brief period of time, and I love it. So go watch the show if you haven't already. It's weird for you to come in at the very end, but next up we have your pal Malral.
It's all about getting the spoilers early. Hi, I'm Litro, also playing Malral. I'm currently on 3.5 hours of sleep after a full 12-hour day's work and 3 bottles of Coca-Cola keeping me awake. Let's do this!
Leroy Malral. Thank you, Litro. And then, last but never least, it's Shawnee. It's your birthday.
It's your girl. It is not her birthday. It is the ending of All That We Know It. It's Shawnee having the billing above her sister for once. I'm looking down at her. Hi, it's Shawnee, played by me, Sif. You know me, knight that does art and play games. And yeah, I'm so happy to have had this journey with all of you. I don't know how I will spend my Mondays this day forward.
Thank you, Sif. Yes, and without further ado, we do the brief session recap. Our heroes confronted High Marshal Jarek Widowmaker Vrain aboard the enormous Peacemaker weapon of mass destruction as it was activating to go unleash its reign of terror on the world. The party confronted him in his maddened state. He refused to see any form of reason, and he proceeded to get an incredible boost of chimeric energy, which enhanced him to superhuman levels as he squared up 1v5 versus the party. And after a bitterly fought battle, he was finally brought to his knees before it, a beautiful analog to his previous death at the Battle of Seven Spears, Shawnee took his own sword, Ashbringer, and threw it like a javelin through his chest, finally putting his tortured spirit to rest. But unfortunately for them, the war was not over there, for the system that was keeping the Peacemaker weapon in action was none other than the former Lord Artificer of Seer, Lord Leo Stikanath, otherwise known as Silonia's father, who, if you remember way back to Quest 2, was captured via ripping out his soul by the Ashbringers. And he, in his own insane state, refused to let this end here and proceeded to activate a failsafe he had built into Silonia to turn her into the weapon that would be able to get vengeance for Seer. And against her will, she was twisted and warped into an abomination fracturing time and reality, and was powerless to stop it. As the party tried to bring some reason to her, as she began to tear them apart and devour the magics of their weapons. In the end, Malral, though, refused to raise a weapon to her and held her in place, holding her close, trying to bring reason to her, before finally she sustained enough feedback that she was able to regain some of her humanity, but was unable to stop the breakdown of reality around her, as her body was moving against her will, thus bringing to fruition the vision that Kamar saw in the bad endings. As I said then, one of them was true. And so in the final moments, they remembered the key phrase eventually, after I told them about the two things that counter chimeric energy, is time and gravity, as they embody the two fundamental rules of the material plane. And so, with the power of Kamar's temporal shaping and Shawnee using Ashbringer against her, the incredible gravitic energy of the blade, they were able to sever the arm that was destabilizing society, destabilizing reality in a burst of energy, as it then created a black hole that was beginning to collapse in on the Peacemaker weapon. Thankfully, at that moment, they were able to grab what was left of the broken and torn body of Silonia, get aboard the Silver Lining, and flee the Mournlands before the entire thing detonated in a catastrophic explosion. And with that, the Silver Lining crashed back into reality. They pulled themselves out of the wreckage, and Malral, not a religious man, but a man hoping for the best, invoked the very intervention of the divine to help ensure that Silonia lived throughout all of this. To which she did. As they returned to Greywall, she was rehabilitated by the High Priestess Hecate, and as the days that followed, they eventually had her awaken from her coma that she was in, with Prince, none other than Ikashi, the Prince of Cats, Archfey of the Shadowfell, on her lap, as now she had both violet and green eyes. And as Kamar pulled her aside to talk to her, the party discovered that Silonia was stripped away of all of her memories, of even who she is, as well as any capacity for magic she might have possessed. And so, while Kamar talks to Silonia, that will be addressed later, the party wanted to talk to Prince about what exactly he did to Silonia in those moments. And that'll be the last thing we do before we start the epilogues. So we will jump back into the action with all of you are in the Temple of the Dark Six, walking away with your little kitty. And what do you wish to say to Prince?
You're gonna
Yeah.
I think we should let him explain himself. Like Shawnee is holding him up right now, like
Is this,
the
yeah?
pizza topping. Just
Just
holding him
put
up by
me
the arms.
merely point at him and say, is this one of the deals with the Raven Queen, or you need to be straight with us?
Well, I've never lied to you.
I hate that is mostly true, isn't it?
He gives you a little smug cat face.
You must be serious if you're willing to talk with us normally in your current form. So please, I think you all of us a bit of an explanation.
Fine. I guess I could explain this, as I don't plan on being here very much longer. I think I've had all of the fun times that I can expect from you all. I think everything will become much more boring in the future. So I will give you these parting insights. And he will flutter his wings a bit, and he will sit down as he rushes out of your hands, and will shadow jump over onto just like a chair as he sits there and he looks at you and goes, "You are correct. I made a pact with your friend. I normally don't like her very much ever since she started having all of that energy, but it seems like all of it's been taken out of her, so I thought I could approach her once more, and I gave her something and she gave me something."
Which was?
Well, she gave me something that is incredibly valuable. So I think I got the better end of this pact, as he does a little kitty giggle. Goes, but in exchange, I offered her the protection of my domain, so that no one would be able to find her that meant to use her or do her harm, and that she could be safe in the metaphorical shadows that I would cast over her for the rest of her life.
That thing you took from her. You're gonna make sure no one else can get their hands on it, right?
Oh, of course, it is something incredibly valuable to me.
Shawnee is going to put Prince down and kneel to him and look at him. In the kitchen, Lily's drawer, 2 jars down, and then stand back up.
Oh, this is more important than catnip. But I know that you all have so many questions, but I feel in a giving mood because despite some of you having bad attitude, and frankly will be remembered for the rest of time, as Prince side-eyes Malral.
Shawnee, how could you betray me? I told them no more catnip, and you told them what the stash was.
Others of you have been very loyal servants this whole time, as he gives a little kitty, smiling blink over at Euphoria.
We had an intervention, Prince. Do you need help?
So, I'm going to give you a little bit of insight. Now, I know you all wonder why we have such a fixation with you. And unlike demons or devils, we don't really need your souls for anything. We don't treat you like currency in that way. Rather, we like the fact that you are just so very flawed and imperfect. See, I could make 1,000 swords the exact same way every time, every day for the rest of eternity. But you, despite your best efforts, never could. You would always do something different. You'd breathe differently, apply pressure slightly off, your feelings perhaps drifting your mind aside. And that is just so delicious to us. So, I had Silonia give me something that is truly a once-in-a-mortal-lifetime gift. She gave me a smile of genuine thanks to a being she didn't understand, in a deal she didn't understand, for a future that she now possesses. Oh, it just makes me so happy thinking about it all over again. And that it'll be mine, and only mine. He gives you a big smile.
You know what, Prince, after everything, you've earned it. In some way, shape, or form. Think you'll find a new group of adventurers to fuck around with after a while?
I'll keep my eyes open. Eventually there has to be somebody even more disaster-prone than you all.
Even if that doesn't change yet, though. Like, if you don't find somebody else, if you do get bored over there, feel free to visit whenever.
I hope
Hopefully
there's
you'll
not someone
still be
worse than
alive
us.
by then.
Either way, I'm surprised that this is not something that would go up to the Raven Queen, but I do think that we can trust you more so than her, so... And Ilya kind of scans through the rest of the party and says, well, thank you for giving her this opportunity.
He kind of shrugs and goes, who am I to say after so much and so long that not even one of you deserve at least some moment of happiness, no matter how fleeting it may be? It will allow any of my idle glances by you once more to be that much more deliciously sustained.
So, back to the Shadowfell with Susan?
After one little stop, he smiles and he will walk over to Euphoria and just kind of nuzzle purr against her leg.
She'll reach down and give him some head scritches and say, Prince, before you go, could I ask you for a final favor?
Oh, you want to make a deal?
Huh. Nothing so dramatic. Just a simple act of goodwill on your part. Could you, on your way back, could you tell Juby that I'm coming?
Well, I guess. You're lucky that you Ravamons know how to treat royalty.
Never let it be said that we aren't hostile.
Fine, I could find myself over in the Hunter's Lodge at least momentarily. I'll see what I can do.
It cut off at the very end, and now I don't know if
Thank
she
you,
said
Prince.
hostile or hospitality.
It was hospitable.
Hostile also works.
We know how to be hostile. All right. Now, with that, I have something I need to get, and I look forward to seeing any other trials and travails you all may have. Perhaps I might grace you with my presence once more.
We'd be glad to see you again.
He gives a big kitty smile before he just kind of shakes his booty as he walks over into just an area of shadow, and then you just see his body slowly disappear, just leaving the big violet cat's eyes behind before those blink away. When you eventually return to your home, there is a missing container of catnip that Shawnee had pointed out.
Man, I feel so bad for the saps that are gonna be stuck with him on their adventure.
I hope they also have an intervention for him. Maybe they'll get to him where we could not.
And with that, we have concluded the final little pre-epilogue roleplay with Prince. And we will now transition to the lives of our heroes after the events of this campaign. And so first, we will have your pal, Malral.
After all this, Malral does end up retiring. No more adventure life. But still plenty of other work to do. He retires to the Goblin Village that they visited before, home village of Kai Shin, and he goes and makes a certain goblin barkeeper very, very happy, Charloon. Uh, where at first they start off as just, simple. Uh, they work together at the tavern. He helped build it back up, and they started working more together. But after a while, they grew closer and closer until eventually they decided that they enjoyed each other's company quite a bit. Um, or eventually they did marry. He would help run the tavern, making his own special uh, fire dragon wine or fire dragon ale, but as well as working only at the bar on night shift. As for the day shift, he spent blacksmithing, his passion, what he always wanted to do before he was called off to war, and now also has uh, quite the apprentice as well, as Cleotrixia often visits the village and it takes up quite a bit of lessons for him as well. She has grown to be like a daughter to Malral, and he treats her just as such. Going over and probably teaching her is one of the highlights of any of his days. Seeing her further in craft, and just seeing her smile always makes him happy. Uh, Charloon is also starting to show a prominent bump in the belly as well. Uh, Malral, it's gets pretty old. He was already pretty old during the adventure. Afterwards, you can already start to see some gray in some of his more red scales along his muzzle. But as it starts to like exit out on the scene, he's enjoying just being around people he loves and taking care of others. You can see the Goblin Village. He has still helped to not only repair but enhance as well. Many of the buildings now mostly made of large stone or even metal. He has continued to work and expand it, not only just for the village itself, but for the community. So it is a safe place for all of them to live happily ever after.
Oh, and with that, do we come to the end of Malral's tale?
Mm-hmm. Malral, I think, dies very happily in his late 60s in his bed. Because Dragonborn don't live that long, especially ones who went to war.
Big. But thank you, Litro and Malral. We will now move on to what happens to Euphoria Cox.
All right. Well, after the events that transpired, she made good of her word to Prince that she was going to seek Juby out, and with Ilya's help, she finds her way back to the Feywild, where she challenges Juby for her title of Houndmaster. And the fight, the duel, if you will, is surprisingly brief. The two clash, a genuine heart in each of their motions and thrusts, parries, but Jubilee realizes just a smidge too late that she was not fighting her mother at all, but the Echo, and one successful blink of an eye teleportation later, Euphoria successfully lands a near fatal hit on Jubilee, aiming in her shoulder just above her heart, and asks her to surrender. She knows that a blow like this won't bring down an archfey, but she hopes it's enough to convince Jubilee to surrender. Jubilee at first feels distraught over the loss, that she was so easily bested by her mother, even going so far as to ask her, what was it all for? Why did I accept this great power if I still can't even beat my mother? She wanted to be strong enough to protect everyone from everything and anything that could hurt them, but Euphoria, mortal being that she was, bested her in minutes. And there's a bit of a revelation between the two that despite everything, all the power that Jubilee got, her heart wasn't in it. She may have said she wanted to be Houndmaster, wanted this gift. But there was still a piece of her back in the mortal plane, and that Euphoria was not going to let her daughter be a martyr for a mistake of the heart. So Juby, she does surrender. She gives the mantle of Houndmaster, Heal, to Euphoria on the condition that Euphoria takes care of her hounds. There's a slight tremor of hesitation, even still as she does so. You can tell that a part of her will always miss feeling powerful, but Euphoria pulls her into a hug, gives her forehead a kiss, tells her just how much she loves her, and tells her not to be a stranger, to come visit her whenever she is ready to do so. And Jubilee returns to the mortal plane. Euphoria remains the new Houndmaster, the Knight of Eberron, where she lives, hunts, thrives for years, decades, centuries, who's to say? But her door is always open to her friends and her family. And I'm sure Lily will touch on this in her epilogue, but Ilya will remain with her as well through the course of their lives together. And Obbs will touch on the final act of Euphoria's story as well, so I will leave it at that for now for Euphoria.
And thank you. And now I believe you get the unique privilege of having a secondary chat by courtesy of your previous character, Jubilee Baneshield Ravamon.
Yes, so after everything, acquiring great power, losing it, being humbled by Euphoria, but knowing it was out of love, Juby comes to terms with the fact that she needs to start over. And she seeks out one person in particular to try to perhaps find closure but hopefully not the end. And she seeks out Shawnee. She quickly finds out that Shawnee is on the move quite frequently, going from bopping around from gig to gig. But she eventually tracks her down, finds her in Sharn on a certain park bench that they visited all those long months ago. And she'll approach Shawnee and sit next to her and offer a very awkward greeting.
All right, first off, I have to fix the PNG. Give me a second. As you approach Shawnee, she's simply enjoying herself in the shade, strumming a guitar, practicing some lyrics to a new beat. What a thing of beauty. Oh. Took you long enough.
Yeah. You've been busy.
Well, you know, when I don't have to travel beating myself up anymore, it's been pretty nice. Got a lot of free time. Rallies, gigs, activism, if you can call certain hijinks that.
Hmm.
You gonna sit down or what? This bench is pretty fucking wide.
Yeah, yeah. She'll take a seat and just sit quietly for a moment and wait. I'm back.
You are. I take it, Mother Dearest, you and her, work things out?
She'll kind of touch her shoulder. Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of figured after a certain point once I stopped seeing Euphoria for a while, but, sorry I couldn't wait for you. Even after everything we've been through, it can't all be sunshine and kisses, yeah?
No, I guess not.
Well, Juby, you finally got me. Assuming you want to say something, yeah?
Shawnee, I had a lot of time to think in the wild hunt, and I wanted to say, I wanted to tell you that I'm so, so sorry for everything. I mean, you trusted me, and I let you down. I hurt you. I knew that I knew what you had been through, and I left anyway, and I could say that it was because I had these grand ideas of being everyone's protector, your protector, but in truth, I just ran. I was so scared of messing up. I messed up with Kairos. I messed up with pain. I couldn't mess up. Not with you. I thought it'd be easier if I just left before I just made a mess of everything all over again. But I never stopped thinking about you, Shawnee. I couldn't. I was probably the worst Houndmaster Oberon had to endure because of it. When you said that we could make up for lost time, you have no idea how relieved I felt. I was so sure that after everything you'd never want to see me again, and you would be right to think that. And I know that I have no right to be asking to be a part of your life again, Shawnee, but I really would like to. But if that's not what you want, I will go. I'll leave without question. I guess I just wanted to tell you that I never once stopped caring about you. And I don't think I ever will be able to. You're really something special, Shawnee.
At hearing that Juby would be okay with leaving, Shawnee moves her hand over Juby's and puts down the guitar with the other one, looks at her and goes, "You don't have to be sorry for thinking you were doing the right thing. And you for sure don't have to be sorry for thinking what was best for you. But just tell me this with your own words, even though I'm sure it's true anyways. You're sorry you weren't there for all the hard times everyone had to go through. You're sorry you weren't there with us for those times, and you're sorry we weren't there for the hard times for you, right?"
Yeah. I thought I was protecting you all like always, but you all had to endure so much. And I wasn't there.
I'll, tell you what. You know I'm famous now. And will only continue to grow so. And the one problem that my management from the desk have not addressed is protection. Usually I'm enough to get by, but, well, I need a bodyguard, and I think given the gap in your resume, you could use some work, yeah?
Juby visibly tears up and gives a big, noticeably less sharp smile now. Just, I mean, yeah. I,
And then
I,
she takes her hand up and wraps her arm around Juby's shoulders and pulls her in closer and goes, "Well, we can work out the finer details later and even do a whole geas if you want confirmation, but I promise you this. As long as you work with me, as long as you're around for every future hard thing I have to go through, I'll be there for any changes, challenges, and obstacles you have to face of your own, okay?"
okay. I'll be here till you tell me otherwise.
Mm. So you'll be here from today until even after I retire then. Okay, that's nice. I'm on a little
Forever
bit of
if
a
you
break
want.
right now. Sorry, go ahead.
Forever if you want.
Hmm. Having you protect me in gigs all the way to when I'm nice and retired, where I will be here in the shade, and you'll bring me cool drinks at regular intervals.
When, when did I go from your guard to your cabana boy?
Hey, my general well-being counts.
Fine, you'll be old and retired, and I'll be old and hobbling with the tray to make sure you're well hydrated.
Please, like I said, I promise you to. I'll hobble for you any way you need me to. And Shawnee's gonna pick up her guitar again and, with newfound inspiration, continue working on this one song she's been stuck on. What a thing of beauty, and da-da. Just go off like that.
All right.
You,
Is there more to this?
I don't know, Meris? You got anything else?
There is not, except that she is now contractually obligated to stay with the girl she's been crushing on.
Ooh. Left a fake contract.
Like marriage to me.
Yeah. A business marriage.
I say you gotta. We'll seal the deal.
Yeah.
This isn't Witch for Mercury.
And they were best friends, roommates even, co-workers.
Yes, historians would say they were the best of friends.
It's purely business, Shawnee says on an interview as she's actively sitting in Juby's lap.
All right, then. I believe with that, you wrapped up everything, Meris?
I have.
All right, that concludes Euphoria and Jubilee. So next up, our lovely Yulia is now here. We are going to do a brief talk between Kamar and Silonia before we go into Kamar's epilogue. So previously, Kamar was leading Silonia's wheelchair, just kind of out and about, I think, just to get some fresh air. Is there anything you wish to say now?
First, she's a little lost for words, just kind of taking in the moment, taking in the scenery. But she'll eventually stop and kind of go around the wheelchair and kneel down in front of her and just kind of look up and smile at her. How are you feeling?
I feel like the world sure is bright out. I didn't quite realize how vibrant everything is when it's not being distilled through a window in a temple.
I'm glad that you're seeing things in a new light. It's really nice to see this side of you. I know you don't remember much, but this is the Silonia that I've always remembered.
I'm glad to hear that there were such positive memories of me. I wish I could share them with you. I do feel strange being called Silonia. It feels like it's somebody else's name.
I can call you whatever you'd like.
Kind of looks wistfully into the distance. Was there ever a name that you called me that had nothing but fond memories of?
Call you Sylvana.
Kind of blinks a couple times, and you notice that, like, seemingly without her realizing it, tears have started going down her cheeks.
Are you okay? I didn't mean to upset you.
What? I'm so sorry. As she like puts her hands up to her cheeks and like starts panicking.
You don't have to apologize. I'm the one that made you cry.
No, I'm sorry. It just, it, it, it seemed like something, I don't know, just something clicked with that. I don't really understand why, but it seems to be something that she kind of looks up at you and she goes, something that you say with more joy in your voice. She kind of like smiles awkwardly and chuckles.
Well, it's a beautiful name. Gosh, I don't remember ever being this nervous. I mean, not in a long time. I've gained a lot of confidence since the first time I met you, and I don't know. It's nice to be at a loss of words when I'm with you.
Well, I don't know what you were like before, but to me you seem like somebody with lots of confidence. You seem like a really kind person who, well, you care about this girl who doesn't remember anything about you, and I feel like I want to get to know you better, or I guess all over again.
I'd I'd really like that if you'd let me. I would like to spend more time with you.
Then I'd say we've got ourselves a deal. We'll be two passengers aboard a boat on the seas of life. I don't know why, but boats seem oddly applicable to you.
Do they? Uh, no, I genuinely like the sound of it. It sounds nice.
And she kind of giggles and stuff. And you think this is the first time you've heard now Sylvana genuinely laugh in literal months of your time with her. And she'll, eventually look up at you and go, I would love for you to show me the places in this city that you loved and that we can experience together, well, all over again. Admittedly, I probably am not too great at dancing right now, but I'm sure I could at least be good company.
Well, whatever happened in the past, you don't need to trouble yourself over. What matters is what's going on right now, and we can make new memories together. Starting now, right now. And she'll kind of stand up a little and take both of her hands, and we'll kind of swing them back and forth in place, almost like she's dancing.
Savada laughs and goes, "All right, new memories together. I can't wait for what the future holds."
I'm really excited about it. But I will have to commemorate this occasion with the friendship vase. So when we go into town, I'll get you one.
Oh, is that something you do? A friendship face? That sounds delightful. We'll have to get flowers for it. I feel like I really want to see some flowers. And I'll put it in the vase. And do I have a home? Do I have a house? I could put it next to my bed in the temple.
We can go and pick out flowers together for it. It'll be perfect.
Wonderful. I can't wait for this friendship vase. We're already off to an amazing set of memories.
Many more to come, I'm sure. And she'll kind of lean out and give her a really big hug.
She hugs you back tightly and enthusiastically, and you feel, your shoulder of your robes getting wet, as this time she seems to be crying out of joy instead of beyond her control. Is there anything else you would like to say to Sylvana?
Think that kind of wraps it up over there. They'll probably just spend the rest of the day spending time with each other and making new memories.
Wonderful. And so now with that, if you would like to do the Kamar epilogue, what happens to Kamar in the days and years that follow? And I believe you also have a talk with Shani. I don't know if you want to do that first or after.
Yeah, I think I'll do the thing with Shawnee first.
Okay. So now engage your cat sister.
Cat sister, let's go. All right. So we agreed that they would be meeting in Sharn, correct?
Yeah, in front of a very special location.
Of course. So I guess it would be a couple years past
A
that
good
they
chunk
would.
of time has definitely passed by.
So reconstruction of Sharn is at a good, steady pace. Things are a little bit different. Not used to seeing the new sites, the newer buildings popping up. So going along the lower part of Sharn and kind of pointing out the differences, like, oh, that shop is new, or I don't think that was there before. And eventually they reach the spot that they visited many, many times. It's a little bit different now, but finally stops at their dad's workshop. Gives a
Or-
little bit of a sigh.
It's not really Dad's workshop anymore now, though, yeah?
No, it's not. I think it's a bakery, is it?
Yeah, when I was waiting for you, I got, she pulls out a paper bag and it's, like, a bunch of different pastries, and she's also holding 2 cups of coffee. You wanna go sit on that bench across the street from it?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man, it's crazy coming back here. I mean, people have forgotten, well, some part about us, like, things are so different now.
Weird to be back. Uh, Admittedly, I haven't visited much, but it's nice.
Hmm.
I've really missed you.
I missed you too, sis. I know it's been getting hard to see each other again and again. What have you been up to? And she starts scarfing down a croissant from the near limitless bag of pastries.
Well, I've been writing. mostly. Nothing I plan on really publishing, but just getting my thoughts out and really formulating my life around that pocket dimension. It's ongoing. It's a little weird getting used to, but finding a good home there. Spending a lot
Uh,
of more time with Savannah as well.
Maybe you two got things sorted out.
Mm, I'm really glad too. It's been really nice. And
That
hmm?
sorry, go ahead, sis. Finish your thing first.
No, I wanted to ask about you.
You know, gig to gig, flying out with Kairos and Chuby, causing trouble where we go. A little bit of activism, bit of encouraging rebellion against things like jewelry mines and stuff. Stuff like that. It's been hectic and fun and dangerous, but I'm getting to live a life I want to live, and it's all the more worth it with everyone.
I am so happy for you, Shawnee. This what a thought, right? Us?
I never thought we are fucking unrecognizable. I mean, your hair alone. I don't think a single person from here recognizes us anymore.
No, I don't think so, but I do see little people looking at you from a distance. I think they're a little shy to approach, but
Oh,
you
don't you worry. Don't you worry. I got these like perception hindering glasses. Like not even Juby kind of has trouble realizing it's me. So they're probably just confusing me with another celebrity or something. Don't worry. I promised you this evening, and I'm giving all of it to you. So don't worry, sis.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, you definitely didn't have to, but oh, it's just I'm so proud of you.
I wanted to, sis, and I'm proud of you.
I'm
Feels so long ago when we got on that train. Every hijink, every adventure, every difficulty, all
remember
for
when we
this.
saw yeah,
Hmm?
remember when we saw all those baked goods on the train and we immediately stuffed it in our face. I don't think we've seen that many many baked goods in one place before.
And now it feels like we can just do that whenever we want now. I'm sure if you could conjure something up, or I could easily reserve a whole restaurant if you wanted to, and just get the whole thing again. It's such a jump. Sis,
Hmm?
that pocket dimension, you've been hanging out here less and less, right?
Um, I mean, I want to try to get stronger and be the best. I want to actually be an archmage. So I have to do a lot of studying.
I'm not sure what kind of studying you can get up to with Silonia around, but um, you can keep a secret, right?
Of course I can.
At least to my grave. I I've been you know, we have healthcare, so no surprise I've been seeing a doctor, but um, whatever Spike did, we both knew it wasn't gonna be forever, right?
What are you what are you implying, Shawnee?
I I don't got forever. I mean, I kind of got that after a while. I thought I'd have a longer life, but yeah, no, the doctors told me that if I keep living the way I do, at the very least you want to see grandma, Shawnee, maybe. I don't know. But Listen, the reason why Juby's in here, the reason I haven't told anyone else is because the moment I mention this to anyone, they're gonna want me to stop. But Spike gave me this life to live it how I wanted to live. And while I'm sure he'd understand if I wanted to live longer, if I wanted to be immortal, I probably could, but I want to do so much with this life. I'm not gonna let a little less of it scare me. So I'm telling you this in case something happens, but I want to do one last gig. I've been working on pulling some strings. I've been doing a whole lot, and I want to do what Larissa did. You remember the Barty Awards?
I do, yes.
We all felt that. We all felt how she felt. How she felt. I I realized if I wanted whatever I did to last as long as I did, to last as long as possible, I'd need to get my feelings into people like that. So I'm gonna try my hardest to play on the biggest stage possible. And Shawnee just points up. She just points up at the fucking sky. It, and I'm going to let loose with everything I am. But I'm telling you this so I can hold myself accountable. I promise you, I will save time for you and Juby and everyone else at the end of it. I think I've earned that much.
You know, it's my job to save time, right?
Yeah, so I know whatever time I've got left over, you'll help me make the most of it. I've got a I've got a whole little thing set up too afterwards, a nice little getaway built home away from Grey Wall, away from prying eyes. Lovely scenic views, a wonderful lake, plenty of room for Juby, me, Kairos, anyone else who wanted to visit, and everything I need so that if and when it does happen, I'll be at peace.
There's no way for me to convince you otherwise. I guess, well, if you're telling me this, you've already made up your mind.
I thought about it long and hard about hanging everything up and just figuring out how to live longer, but I'm good with this. I've I've gotten the chance to make my own bed, and I'm gonna lie on it. But I know you'll be around for a very, very long time, sis. So I want you to have this. And Shawnee will, for like the first time ever, take off one of her bracelets, the one marked in the Dead Shifter language with the word love on it, and she gives it to Kamar. Wherever you go, whenever you go, I will always be with you. In some way, shape, form, no matter what you have to deal with, I will be there. But for now, and she holds up the other one saying, Hope, I need to give this one to everyone. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. I'll I'll do whatever I can to make sure that your dream comes true.
I love you, sis. And she pulls Kamar in for a hug.
You too, Shawnee. Um, do you mind if I'm a groupie for a while then?
Stick around for as long as you'd like, sis. You've got all the time in the world, after all. And I'd be happy to share every bit of mine left with you.
That like that a lot. She just hugs her back.
And don't feel bad about the bracelet either. I'm certain I'll have plenty of things to give Juby and Pyros that'll last longer than time itself, like you, okay?
It's gonna go ahead and pull away and slip on the bracelet.
You feel it sort of like pulsate a little bit. Whatever's been powering it besides the Kyber crystal, it's definitely some piece of Shawnee and some piece of Spike forever at your side.
I'll cherish it forever.
I know, sis. No, come on. I've made a few reservations at a few fun places. You ever seen an empty duck world? Because I think I've earned a whole amusement park to myself and everyone else I care about. Yes, that includes like everyone, like Juby and Ilya and Euphoria. Well, hopefully they show up. I kind of sent invites without following up, but yeah, come on, sis.
Oh, we're great. Go and take her hand and follow her along.
Is that the conclusion of the talk with Shani?
Think.
Yeah, I'm good, DM. I got that off.
Sif crying. All right. Yulia, how goes the rest of whatever time period you want to assign for Kamar? Years,
Sure.
decades, whatever.
So it's probably an in between. A long duration. So she'll occasionally kind of go back to Sharn and the university. Not so much like as a student anymore, but for like the occasional seminar, or, you know, if they want a part of her knowledge that she's willing to share. So she's sort of become not so much a mascot, but more of like an entity of the university, a being that just kind of constantly goes in and out, and, you know, this sort of immortal being that has graced her presence at the university. So kind of like a folk legend almost, but she does spend most of her time within that pocket realm with her other selves, usually in just watching and observing other in different realities, all while practicing her magic. And eventually, years down the line, she does become a real and true archmage of time. um, But in between that, she'll also be continuing writing her novels and doing a bit of journeying on her own, along with, you know, occasionally Sylvana if she wants to join. She's not a published author or anything like that, but she does use aliases for the one book that she does end up publishing. It's not popular by any means, but, you know, just a little cult following about a story about a famous singer and her pursuit of happiness and love, her hardships and her flirtatious mannerisms, and her grandiose adventures along with her dog named Spike. And
Aww.
she did. So she um, just continues to live out her life, just making sure the realms and the realities are all right, and kind of keeping to herself for the most part, and, you know, trying to pursue her own meaning of love and family and friendship. So yeah, that's what she's doing.
All right, and thus ends Kamar's story. Next, we have Sif and Shawnee. We've gotten a lot of Shawnee content over other people's, but now we come to the final Shawnee.
All right, what can I say? What can I say? It's a Shawnee W, Shawnee sweep. All right, now let me. All right, so I need chat and everyone to use their imagination as a as a screen, generic magic screen, comes live. Who was Shawnee? Where is Shawnee? I guess you could say, where is she now? After performing one of the most historically famous or infamous events, depending on your point of view, leading to her emotions and music to be heard worldwide, scientists even theorize, possibly throughout other planes, she disappeared from public view in the blink of an eye. As a result of her actions, of the feelings she stoked, there were many protests, many rallies, many little revolutions, many clamoring for her to be named a saint of Boldre, of the Silver Flame, maybe even a god, which led to the spawning of several worrisome heretical factions, and to this day, that day has been forever marked for the history books and calendars as Shawnee's Day. Regardless of the effects of what she did, we don't know where she is now. Shortly after her disappearance, all of her loved ones seemed to clam up, focusing on simply being out of public eye themselves. And people theorize that maybe she isn't dead. She very likely is, but for those of you at home who'd like to use your imagination, maybe she isn't. Maybe she ascended to godhood as a reward for her worldwide impact. Maybe she did become a saint. Maybe she's in hiding, waiting for a return, or perhaps simply idling out the rest of her days, as she so deserves. Regardless, if you would like to have your own story, to write your own take on Shawnee's ending, you'll certainly need good information. And for that, we have her 7-part biography written by a phantom author of the name Kamar. I don't know. Regardless, each installment of these books comes to a very hefty amount of gold, but I promise you, each bit of that gold will go towards the charitable foundation under Shawnee's own name, Cast a Wish Foundation. Now, we'll be right back after these short messages. And that's it.
Cast a wish. I love it. I love it. You too.
I had that in for months.
For only $29.99 gold, you can have a copy of Shawnee's biography. But wait, there's more. If you buy it now, you get a free bookmark.
Every bit goes towards a diamond that will prevent another family member from being lost due to diamond pricing.
Thank you, Sif. And with that, Shawnee's tale comes to an end. And then we come to last but never least, Yulia.
I was expecting that to be emotional, and it just ended up being silly, and I'm kind of happy for it. So
It's how she
spring,
wanted to go.
yeah. All right, let's get started. So after Euphoria and Kaishen left for the Feywild, Ilia brought Jubilee back to the mortal plane. She took a deep breath and waved a temporary goodbye to her fellow party members as each began to go their own way and forge their own path. She offered for any of the group to spend some time with her as she researched interplanar anchors and where all the phase spires were locked onto Corvair. Some did and helped her make the journey more comfortable. Snow and the Fae of Shaelora Lindir began to spread out to every corner of Corvair and gathered everyone with word of the ability to finally return home to the Feywild. Some scoffed at her and said it couldn't be done. Some happily came along and made their home of Shaelora Lindir, and more were recruited to the cause. Ilia took the time every single night to cast sendings to the different party members. She had a day set aside for every single one of them. Monday for Shawnee, Tuesday for Juby, Wednesday for Kamar, Thursday for Malral, Friday for Euphoria and Kaishen, Saturday for Sylvana, and Sunday for Asharin and Larissa. She would tell them of her escapades, the people she met, and the places she traveled back to that they had visited during their adventure. Oftentimes, they would ask for her to convey messages to each other so that they always had a way to keep in contact, so that they were never truly, completely apart. She spent a week a year visiting the Feywild and invited any other party members to come along if they were willing. They spent time with Kaishen and Euphoria. Ilya herself basked in the warmth of their touch and the calm of their presence, and they were happy days with friends all around. After 10 years of research and gathering, she finally had all the pieces she needed. She reached out to all of her fellow party members and requested for them to come to Greywall so she could take them to Shaylor Lindir, gathering at the statue of Spike. And so, kind of just like role playing of like everybody is gathering that wants to be there, of course. But Illy will just say, well, thank you all for coming. Just been 10 years, hasn't it? Since we were last all together, at least. By the way, feel free to roleplay. Sorry, I need to add that note.
Thank you so much for inviting us. It's really good to see you again.
I'm old. Where's my coffee?
Malral, stop acting like that. Your kids aren't around you.
Oh, the bickering still continues, I see. You all seem like you're doing quite well. I'm glad to see that you weren't lying to me in our little sending messages.
Back in my day, we smoked at 5 years old.
Oh my god, Malral. Alright, this joke's getting boring. Listen, Ilya, I'm happy to see you. It's been so long. We'd be here no matter what. Even if it meant interrupting the date or something. She like eyes Juby and then looks back at Ilya.
Did I interrupt something?
No, this is important. This counts.
Juby, I trust you more than her.
What? No. Ellie, we're really happy to be here. Truly. This is. You've been working on this for so long.
Look, this is still a date, and then Shawnee just like kisses Juby on the cheek while holding her hand.
Ilya just welling up a little bit of tears says, there's plenty of time for that. I suppose I should get us to where we're going. And she'll kind of draw a quick like rune with her staff, create a teleportation circle, and as she does so, every person there suddenly feels themselves kind of shift as a massive amount of ground is covered. And what you see as you come through is something different than you could have ever imagined. What started out as 30 survivors and orphans in Shea Laura Lindier slowly grew. Uh, 50, 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 2,000, all the way up to 5,000 Fae. Fertile lands after the fire began to be filled with the Fae. They tilled the soil and made a new, albeit temporary, home, and the town flourished. Vibrant Fae flowers and colors covered the scenery. Fae families frolicked, finally being able to feel at peace with themselves among people like themselves. Say, well, this is my home. Well, on the mortal realm at least. I don't think I ever got to show any of you it.
Does this home come with the baby pictures? Follow-up question. Do you mind showing us your baby pictures?
I unfortunately don't think any baby pictures were taken when I was in the Feywild. Cameras and such, crystals and such weren't exactly commonplace there. So
Oh.
I must apologize that there's no baby pictures.
That's okay, Ma. We can just take plenty more of you right here, right now. And Shawnee whips out the camera she's been hiding to quickly snap a surprise shot of Ilya with like the house behind her.
Where did you get that?
I have my sources. I need
She,
new hobbies now that I'm not, a world famous idol anymore.
she stole it from the paparazzi.
Huh?
Mm.
Do you
Those
remember?
fuckers. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So do you remember back in Sean when we first fought in the arena and I yelled at the press there? I'm glad to see that we're still keeping on that spirit.
What they get for infringing on a nice private homestead life, where I just want to take pictures of flowers and make out with my wife.
And you look so happy. The both of you. All of you, really. Hmm. Hmm. Indeed. I think it is time for me to get started with the ceremony. She'll kind of step towards the town center and just tap her staff a few times, which has a very, very, very loud echo. And as she does, you see all the different Fae families just kind of slowly start to circle and engross or encircle the entire area of the town center. And she speaks up. Everyone, today is a momentous day. I'm happy to say that after today, we will finally be able to all return home together. I want to make sure to introduce you all to my good friends and companions. And I know you all heard me talk enough about them when we first met, but they are the ones that truly made this possible. I love them all with all of my heart, and without them, this never would have been possible. They gave me the strength to carry on and to find myself again, and to strive to make as many people as possible live in happiness. And she'll kind of point or gesture her hand to my beloved Rose Gold. You know you have my love, my heart, and my soul. Please, come visit whenever you want. The gate will remain open for all time, protected by a barrier of our own design. All you must do is speak these words to the barrier. My love is like a rose, my heart is of gold, and my soul is always for you. Now, the final piece. The anchor to the Feywild that is strong enough to make the link last. She'll kind of take a second and just a quick circle on her staff. Euphoria, Kaishen, please come through. And Meris, I will let you introduce Euphoria after 10 years.
Absolutely. So, portal formed. Out steps a familiar silhouette. Our favorite hot pink tiefling MILF. Shrouded in the dark celestial cape of the Houndmaster, her wings folded behind her back. Joined with Kaishen at her side. And on her hip, there is a small pink toddler. She'll look at Ilya, cross through the portal with zero hesitation, and pull her close for a big ol' smooch and a little forehead nuzzle. And look to the group. Rose Gold. So good to see you all again. Thank you for coming. Juby will walk up to Euphoria and give her a big hug and a big old kiss on the toddler's cheek.
Are we get to RP2 or
Yeah. Please do.
okay. Shawnee is going to sheepishly walk up to Euphoria after seeing her forever, since it's been forever. Hey Ma. Just remember when way back when I said I wanted to be like the most famous and attractive person in the world, and you expressed being afraid of what I'd become. Um, did I grow into the type of woman you could be proud of?
Oh, Shawnee, you have exceeded every possible expectation I could ever have. You
Ani's
made
immediately going to like just jump hug Euphoria. Like
Oh, be careful with Letty.
Kai-Shen
my mom.
will take the toddler out of the way.
Do you have her?
yeah.
Yes, I have. I am holding them close. I will ensure that this moment can continue with minimal intervention as he plays with the child.
Shawnee's just holding tight before eventually just like lowering her legs back down to the ground and letting go. It's it's so wonderful knowing we get to spend the rest of our lives seeing each other again.
Mm. You all look remarkably well, too. I'm glad that it all worked out, didn't it?
I think so. Everyone here living their lives in peace and happiness. It's what I know we were all hoping for.
We did it,
But
guys.
we did it, didn't we? I think I shouldn't keep everyone waiting any longer. Zafé here, are a bit restless, you know.
Yes, yeah, go on. Do your ceremony.
Okay. I will take care of it. All right. Please, I need everybody other than Euphoria to give us some space. And she'll gesture for everybody to back up and kind of keep backing up past like 50 feet.
Oh, fuck. That's like two turns.
It's like, no, a bit further than that. Trust me, it's it's a big one.
You hear
She'll
Kai-Shen say, "You are doing great."
and you're doing
Supportive
great with Letty. Thank you very much.
They will be a magnificent warrior. Do not worry. This will be their first encounter with your arcana.
Shall be plenty more opportunities. As she does so, Ilya will plant the staff that she had created from the tree her mother planted and the gems that Dilgren had gifted to her for their marriage. As she does so, multicolored magic coalesces into a swirl. Out from the staff comes intricate runes written in Sylvan. They spiral out for 50 feet, writing a detailed spell. As Euphoria steps forward towards Ilya, the green and blue magic of the wild hunt begins to join the spiral of the magic. Stray Fey essence fills the town center as the staff begins to blossom into a tree made of a rainbow of different colors. The tree continues to expand until it is a large oak. On the leaves, you can find a mixture of many different flowers, and at the center, a carving of a door. After 10 minutes of concentrating, the spell is complete. Yulia takes a deep breath and grabs Euphoria's hands as she turns the knob and opens the door. On the other side, she sees the Feywild, revealing that the magic has worked. As she does so, she stands to the side and says to all of them, "Welcome home, everyone." And as she says so, the Fae cheer and run through the door to find their homes once more. Once everyone has gone through and leaving just Rose Gold, she'll kind of gather herself together with Kaishin and Euphoria and just look over to the rest of the party and just say, "Well, the door's always open. And I'll keep checking in on you for as long as I live. Please, you know we'll be there for you if you ever need it. For any weddings, any happy occasions or sad occasions. We will be there forevermore." And the three of them kind of take a second. I will offer anybody to say their last words before they step through.
I wonder if we'll see Prince, and Shawnee just steps right through.
Oh.
Like mid-sentence cuts out. She wasn't ready for it.
Congratulations, Yulia. Congratulations, Mom.
Mom or Ilya, either works. And considering your lengthy life, you know you'll always have a friend and a family to call home here. Don't be a stranger, darling.
You don't feel like a stranger. I feel like we talk every week. And like you're
We do indeed. So with how funky time is, I can't guarantee that it'll be of quite the same frequency, but I will do my very best.
No, I will try to visit as often as I can.
Bring any new teas that may have caught your fancy, whether from this dimension or another. I know you go about.
Of course I will. You can count on it.
And she'll step on through.
All right. With that, is there anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. And with that, Ilya's story comes to a close, which now means it gets to be back to me to talk. As now all of our heroes have gone, I get to now talk about some of the major NPCs that the party had met over the course of the campaign and what happens to them. So first of all, thanks to the efforts of our party, of course the city of Greywall becomes essentially the second capital of the Kingdom of Drome, and a bastion of understanding between the quote-unquote monstrous Kingdom of Drome and the rest of the kingdoms of Cover. Specifically, our good snake mommy, Cryotrixia, eventually leaves her life of being a comparative aristocratic recluse and decides to take a more assertive level of control in Greywall and in the Kingdom of Drome itself. And with her wealth, she proceeds to open up the first formal magical school and college in the Kingdom of Drome, named after the people that meant so much to her, who saved her daughter, and that she fought alongside. And it is called the Golden Rose Magic Academy. And it serves as one of the first and most preeminent institutions of formal education in the Kingdom of Drome. She will spend the rest of her life administering it and teaching the various monsters and peoples of the kingdom in traditional education as well as magic, giving them the best start in life for their future. Even people from other kingdoms will eventually come there to study and experience the myriad arcanas that are available from different races and cultures throughout the world. Additionally, the 110,000 gold that the party got from defeating the Ashbringers and cashing them in was subsequently used almost in its entirety for the rebuilding efforts in Sharn and Greywall. This allowed a incredible increase in the overall quality of life and standard of living in both cities, particularly the lower towers of Sharn, the birthplace of Shani and Kamar, where suddenly the classic institutionalized poverty was able to be basically given a new start in life and new hope for the future under the stewardship of various Dask emissaries from Greywall. And thanks to their efforts, many people who would not have had quite the same opportunity in life can have a better and more prosperous future. Additionally, our beloved little Cleotrixia, the little snake daughter, when she is not studying under her mother, or of course going to Nuhui to practice with Malral in smithing, she eventually grows up still wearing Shani's leather jacket, progressively resized into being more like a belt over the years. She ends up becoming the best of both worlds in the bridge between Drome and the rest of the kingdoms, thanks to the impact of Rose Gold and Malral on her upbringing. And she actually becomes the first diplomat and ambassador of Drome to the wider kingdoms, and is responsible for Drome getting formalized recognition from all the kingdoms of Cover as a full and independent state worthy of its own rights, privileges, and protections. And while she is acting as an ambassador abroad, she ends up working very closely with a very sweet and kind tiefling sorcerer by the name of Everett Baneshield Ravamont, who they eventually fall in love, get married, and on the day of her wedding, Malral would walk as she slithers down the aisle. And it was one of the happiest moments of her life to be able to have Malral walk her down the aisle. Next up, Magnolia Ravamont. She, of course, continued her romance with the relative ice princess Syra de Leander, and they would eventually have Syra become a full sky captain in her own right, getting command of her own airship after the events of her destroyed cousin's airship. And together they would sail across the skies in adventure after adventure together for the rest of their careers. Augustus Baneshield Ravamont would spend several weeks in the halfling houses of healing after the bombing attack on Sharn, and he was needed so much time to recover as he had to get half of his body replaced by high-quality magical augmetics to replace the parts of him that were damaged from the chimeric-infused bomb, so they couldn't simply be regenerated. Because these augmetics are, of course, even high quality, they are imperfect, despite their best efforts to restore him to the status that he was before his injuries. It didn't seem, in his opinion of himself, at least his high opinion of himself, that he was at quite the same standard of capability, and so he took this opportunity to retire formally from being a bodyguard with House Leander and spending more time with his wife and family. He lived long enough to see the last of his children get married before the limits of his human lifespan and the old wounds that he had received in the attacks finally got the best of him. He would pass away quietly in his sleep, surrounded by his wife and loved ones. Oriana Ravamont would take charge of the Ravamont household after Augustus's passing, and she would ensure her children received the best educations and the best opportunities that she could achieve with her connections, as well as the Ravamont wealth that her husband had accumulated over the years that she shrewdly managed. She would eventually open several charitable organizations in his name, as well as she would take up a teaching position as an adjunct professor at Morgrave University, teaching bardic music theory in the years that followed. Esmeralda and Kalina Lever would expand the charity work of the Carnathi Eternal Veterans Association throughout the other kingdoms of Kovere as really the first non-religious, non-megacorp international, non-governmental organization, where they would be heavily involved in providing charity work, disaster relief, and rebuilding efforts to people who were the victims of conflict. Additionally, they'd be heavily involved in the rebuilding of Greywall and Sharn, and don't fear, because their undeath continue to be one of love, support, and of course, gratuitous amounts of firepower. Next, we come to Lao Li Wei, otherwise known as Lili. After the events of the campaign and her services no longer being required at the house, she would continue to work in Greywall before rising to the position of the Daiyen, the clan leader of Clan Wei, helping establishing them as one of the prime contractors in Greywall and Brayland for household management, as well as a not too secret espionage service. It was said that even after years of leadership in her old age running the clan, she would still refuse to have anyone else cook in her kitchen. Next up, Acorn, Ilia's brother, would continue wandering the material plane for many decades after his sister returned to the Feywilds. He enjoyed times of peace and new experiences across nearly all the continents of Eberron, before one day he would simply return to the Feywilds without a word said, and established himself telling stories of his tales to Queen Mab as one of her chief minstrels. After losing the silver lining, House Leander finally had enough with Kairos de Leander and stripped him of his title of Sky Captain. However, because of his dragon mark, he was still too valuable to simply put into obscurity, and instead was assigned to ocean-going ships, the hope being that he would not be able to crash them into the ground. Something he did manage to substantiate for the rest of his career, where he did not have a single ship lost under his captaincy. However, he would always visit his loves whenever he had the opportunity and would take them on adventures across the seas whenever he could. It is said that there were many opportunities where Jubilee and Shawnee had to rescue him, where he was constantly putting himself in danger. Thankfully, he was quite happy to find himself being princess carried so often by such strong women. Coach would eventually rebuild his gym in Sharn and set himself up as the de facto local leader of the lower towers of Sharn. He would mentor kids and give them safe and healthy outlets, as well as keeping the Dask emissaries in line in the city. However, while he was doing that, Kamar's professor would return to teaching at Morgrave once it was finally repaired after the bomb destroyed it. She would eventually have the eye she lost, saving Coach and the children replaced with a magical augmetic, to which her students said only added to the terror it inspired in them when they failed their assignments. Coach and the professor would never marry, but they would live out the next several centuries together in a open secret relationship that they somehow felt the need to continue maintaining even when everyone was aware of it. Eventually, the professor's long life exceeded that of Coach's, and after Coach's passing, no longer having a reason to stay in Sharn, she would eventually take up a teaching position at Arcanix, teaching chronotherapy for the rest of her days. She would also check in with her favorite pupil, Kamar, and see how she was continuing to ignore her advice. Eventually, Paint, everyone's favorite changeling, would take over the stewardship of the orphanage in Greywall, his family continuing to amply fund it in secret. This orphanage would be named the Rei Nin Yen Memorial Home for Lost Embers, and would become one of the foremost facilities in Drome for taking in those who had lost their parents and giving them the life, love, and caretaking that the founders of it always wanted in their own lives. Additionally, following the events of the Mournlands, Larissa would continue to wander the lands, going on adventures and singing songs, occasionally dragging Asharin along with her so that they could experience some fun and childlike joy in their life. Despite her better judgment, in honor of all she did, Cryotrixia would eventually, reluctantly, offer Larissa a position as a professor of bardic studies at the Golden Rose Magic Academy, which Larissa accepted, and even sometimes actually showed up for whenever she was in town again. Asharin would return to Thrain one more time, where they would formally resign from the Templar Errant of the Silver Flame, before returning to Greywall and starting up their own little restaurant called the Guiding Light Cafe. It was said it served the best grilled cheese sandwiches in the entire city. When not working or adventuring with Larissa, they would volunteer at the orphanage, helping the children grow up happy and safe in the life that they had always wished they had had for themselves. After a century in the Fey Wilds, Kai Shen would eventually return to New Wei, where he retired, spending the rest of his life teaching combat and art to generations. Long into the final decades of his life, when he was well into his 80s, as he was lying on his deathbed, he was eventually approached one day by a mysterious pink tiefling woman with a cloak of stars, a tall blue eladrin, and a young tiefling with antlers. If you would like to do a little RP, Meris?
I absolutely would.
So, Euphoria. Euphoria and Ilia, you find yourselves in a very modest, goblinoid room surrounded with lots of calligraphy tapestries on the walls recounting stories of presumably dozens of people you guys never have heard of or met, but for whatever reason you can immediately detect Kai Shen's very distinctive art style amongst them, as he is a far cry from the Dilf he once was, as he is an aged man lying on his bed as he somewhat weakly turns to look up at you.
It's all right, darling. I'm here.
Is that you, Euphoria?
I don't see any other exceedingly beautiful pink women here.
Oh, forgive me, my eyes aren't quite what they used to be. As he extends out a hand.
She'll take it and press her lips to his knuckles, trying not to tear up. And I brought Soleil too. He's here.
Soleil Sun? Please. It's been so long.
The antlered tiefling approaches and just... You look awful, old man.
Your guy shed lets out this kind of like hacking laugh as he starts coughing afterwards and goes, I see that your mothers have continued to fail to instill discipline in my absence.
No, that's not exactly true.
Yeah,
He just
mom tries.
has a bit of a sassy side. You know, we all have it. It runs in the family, I think.
I tried my best, but alas, apparently it's genetic.
Dad, you're gonna pull through though, right?
Not this fight, Soleil soon. This is my last stand.
It didn't have to be though.
Soleil, it was his choice.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to spend more time with you. But I had to leave someday. I never wanted to live forever.
It didn't have to be forever. It just... I just don't get it. Dad, I really don't get it.
I told you our beliefs. This is the way of our people. I've always taught you what it is in goblinoid culture, what it means to become one with your clan again. It was always going to end this way, Soleil soon. I just pushed it off for as long as I could.
I'm trying to be happy for you then.
I would not have asked for this any other way than to have you all here. You honor me with this.
You know, we would be here in an instant. Whenever you would call. And we knew that this day would come. And I just want to say, the joy that we had as a family will always be here in my heart, and you will always live on in the embers.
You will reach over to kiss Ilya's hand before he looks at Euphoria. No, you aren't here to make me that offer again, are you?
Worth a shot. You know, I'd always have a place for you if you wanted it.
I know, but I have been blessed with more love and family than any person deserves in one life. And this is how I would want this phase of it to end. With you here. you know that I will always watch over you, and I will always love you. And kind of gestures for them to come closer. I will be waiting for the day that I'm able to see you again. And the time comes, and you eventually pass the mantle on. I will be waiting with bated breath to hold you once more.
You really were the best of men.
Yeah, lets out another chuckling cough. I was simply blessed with the best comrades, the best warriors that any soldier could ever ask for. He turns to look at Soleil. Soleil Soon, please, come closer. I have something I want to give you.
Soleil will approach. What is it? What is it, Dad?
He reaches over shakily and kind of weakly as there are, you see on a wall his classic, his daiko, his long bladed polearm that he would always use. But you also see his long curved sword and his his short curved sword that he will reach over, and he seems to muster the absolute limits of his strength to lift up the longer curved one as he lifts it up and hands it to Soleil. This is half of my Rodai, and I give it to you because I love you so dearly, and as long as you carry it, part of my soul will always be with you and will always protect you, my son.
I will. I'll do you proud, Dad.
He puts his hand over Soleil holding the sword and just goes, "You always have."
I love you, Dad.
Love you too. And all of Clan Zhao will be watching over you. He kind of slumps back into his bed and goes, "Well, I would love to hear some stories of what I've missed." And with that, will Euphoria and Ilia just talk to Kaishan about the stuff that's been going on in the Feywilds and with Soleil for the last several decades? of his time. I'm going to assume that's a yes.
Yeah, no, I imagine they would just try and fill his last moments with just soft memories and stories and everything as he sort of whisks off to sleep.
And you're not sure when. God, I'm crying. You're not sure when in the stories you tell him, when he finally just kind of fades away because he has a hard time keeping his eyes open during it, and then eventually you just see his chest stop, and he's the next thing you know, he's just lying there smiling as he passes on. And with that, we finished Kai Shed. I've been crying every time I've been going over this for months. And then finally, last but not least, much of it has been covered already, but after everything that happened to Sylvana, Kate Sith was in fact true to his word, and no one would ever find her who meant to use her or do her harm, and she would make a new life's worth of memories, better ones than the ones that she had lost. And now that time and age applied to her again, she would spend the rest of her days volunteering at the orphanage and tending to the flowers she loved so much. And with that, we come to the end of our journey. Our brave heroes leaving their mark on the world, the lives of everyone who crossed their paths, and most importantly, to me. And from the ashes of the last war, a new and brighter world was born. The end.
You said the thing!
I said the thing! Thank you, everybody, for coming along with us for this journey over the last year and a half. I hope that you have enjoyed this story as much as I have, and I am so thankful that I've been able to play and run this game and work collaboratively on this story with all of these wonderful people for so long. And I now have a surprise for everybody that a certain artist provided me for this exact moment that I was forbidden to reveal until right now. So, in theory, everybody should be able to hear this and see this as I'm about to do it. So.
Okay, everyone, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Bye!
Oh, you have this beautiful art and animation by none other than Sif of our wonderful little group of beings and their NPC companions and some silly little Death Knight at the front who wrangled them all together.
Oh, it's so cute!
Oh my gosh!
I felt
That's
we
so
needed to.
cute.
I felt we needed to end it on one last big bye.
Oh.
Oh. Back in my day, we said bye.
All right. And with all of that being said, we have truly come to the end. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We are now going to end Ashes of the Last War. Go find somebody to raid. If you haven't done so already, please go send your love to all of these amazing players. Please go follow them, support them, and I hope that you enjoy them nearly as much as I have.
Do you already have someone in mind to raid?
I do not have somebody specifically in mind to raid.
Would you mind a suggestion, or do you want to
Sure.
pick
Whatever you
my
suggest.
friend Lycus? I'll put their Twitch in the Discord.
Okay.
They recently came back from a little bit of a hiatus with personal stuff, so they're doing a big group art thing too.
Ooh, spicy.
You can kick down their door and draw on their canvas. It's great.
All right, let me get this name right.
Oh shit.
If somebody could please refund Corey. Actually, no. I'll do Corey. Sorry, Sith.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
I also like Rashira, and I know her.
Mhm.
She's a good bean. All right. Raid has been created. If you're a follower, please copy down the call to hugs. If you're a sub, please copy down the Knight's message. As we go to send Rashira, a very cute little ice doggo, and a very beautiful artist. Lots of love. Have a great night, everybody, and the sweetest of dreams. Thank you for watching. And once more, everyone, bye!
Bye.